There's a fucking Gillman action figure. I'm gonna buy it. I'm serious.
Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Film Asylum, where if you are crazy about movies, you belong here. We are your hosts, Colin Peters,
John Ruschetta,
and Jeff Manfred.
Wow.
I know, dude. I was like ready to start screaming.
I wanted to say one of Rudy's insults. I want to be like, see you later, Band-Aid breath.
We got a streak going on here.
I know, man. Two episodes in a row.
Instead, I decided to put a little oomph in my name because I am really excited to talk about this episode just as Jeff is too, and as we all are.
Yeah.
So
I guess like best thing to do it because it's halfway to Halloween and starting off with Scream Queens last week. Might as well continue the trend. But with this trend is we're actually gonna go see this movie at the drive-in with was it Andre Bauer is the kid who plays Sean.
Sean, yep.
So we're excited for that. I figured it would fit perfectly. So honestly, the movie, we didn't even say the title yet, is Monster Squad. And
Oh yeah.
that was, like, this movie is probably one of the cult classics of cult classics because I didn't hear about this movie till I was 20.
20?
Yeah, because, like, I remember seeing images, but I had no clue what the fuck it was.
Uh-huh.
I was actually working at Olive Garden at the time. This guy made a reference to the movie.
Okay.
And I never even knew what it was. He just walks up to me and goes, Wolfman's got nards. I'm like, wait, what? Then he started explaining this movie to me. So I was like, it's funny because like that was around the time they put out the 20th anniversary, where no one knew what the fuck the movie was until that moment.
It's true.
And I was like, wow. I watched it. I fell in love with it damn near instantly because it has everything you need in it. So it's like it's got all the Universal monsters and it's got the kind of like Goonies feel to it.
But not technically Universal monsters because we'll get into that. This was actually picked up by TriStar Pictures. I know originally they wanted to have this be distributed by Universal because, hey, it makes sense. We want to do a team-up of monster movies. We want a team-up of the monsters. Like you said, Goonies, Little Rascals meets the monsters of the 1930s, which is what Fred Decker, the director who made this film, and he also co-wrote this with his college friend, Shane Black, who we've talked about a number of times. Good things and bad things. And he was fresh off the success of Lethal Weapon in 1987. In fact, I think this was 6 months after Lethal Weapon. 1987, this is when the movie came out, Monster Squad.
It's a good year.
I would say also you forgot was it Decker? He also did Night of the Creeps.
Yes, he did.
And off the success before that even came out, it was a funny thing. They greenlit this movie because they read everything he wrote for that movie and then they're like, all right, cool, we'll give you this. Well, that one flopped, and apparently this one flopped.
Yeah, that's the disappointing thing about Monster Squad, because it didn't really find its audience until years down the road. It makes sense. It's a PG-13 movie because it was far too scary for kids at the time, and it was far too tame for adults at that time. What are you saying? No, Colin.
It's not scary for kids. Are you kidding me?
Dude, it's amazing.
There's some pretty scary things in there for
Fuck
kids.
that. Then your parents suck.
But a little tidbit. I saw Colin get excited when I brought up Night of the Creeps.
Yeah.
Tom fucking Atkins is the star of that movie.
Yes, he is.
But to also bring up another little tidbit, prior to that movie being finished, they actually used some graffiti in the bathroom stall when the kid's getting attacked, and it says, go Monster Squad, go.
Yeah.
Or, like, just go Monster Squad. It was just funny because, like, it came out prior to that movie, so, like, no one knew what that reference was until after the fact.
Yeah, they greenlit the movie as the filming was going on for Night of the Creeps in 1986. Just 1 year before they did Monster Squad. So that means that they really hauled ass when it came to making this movie on just a budget of $12 million. It wasn't made for a lot of money, and that's kind of a good and a bad thing because it could have lost a lot more money if it was more expensive. But because it only made about $3.5 million domestically at the box office, like I said, too scary for kids, too tame for adults, and it didn't find its footing until home video, which is where it achieved cult status, and now that's why we're talking about the movie to this day, especially with Andre Gower playing character Sean, having the documentary Wolfman's Got Nards. So it's obviously got some dedicated fans and followers, which is awesome. The film was also produced by Rob Cohen. He should have stayed as a producer because he was far better at it. Because of him, we have the Fast and Furious movies. No. It's run its course.
But run its course.
Oh, dude, that's cheesy.
It's a soap opera with muscle cars. It's a soap opera with muscle cars. I mean, good for Vin Diesel, The Rock, Michelle Rodriguez, and Paul Walker making a career out of those movies and getting a paycheck. But stop with the movies. Just stop.
Dude, just like rattle off all those names on the top of your head. I was just like, I know one, definitely.
You know one of those. You know The Rock.
Yeah, everyone knows The Rock. I can say Vin Diesel because of Pitch Black, but
yeah. But there's a ton to talk about for this movie, especially Fred Dekker. He just kind of reminded me of any like go-to filmmaker who just wanted to be a filmmaker when he was young. He applied for both UCLA and USC for the film department, but they rejected him both times, and they decided to accept him in the English department for USC, but that's not what he wanted to do because he said, I just want to be with my friends and make movies. That's what I want to do. That's my passion. That's my calling. He wrote the story for House that was picked up by Sean Cunningham and directed by one of my least favorite directors, Steve Miner. So good for him for at least getting his foot in the door, and then he got the chance to direct Night of the Creeps in 1986.
Yeah, listen though, House is a fun movie. Like he wrote the
all right. House is the one thing that's passable for Steve Miner. Everything else I hate that he's ever made.
Okay, now Steve Miner or Uwe Boll?
I'd rather have Steve Miner.
I know you hate them both.
Uwe Boll is below the barrel. He's not even worthy of the pond scum at the bottom of the barrel. That's how shitty he is.
He has a stupid name too. Uwe Boll.
I gotta ask, what did Steve Miner do after House? Because, like, your hatred for him is now...
Before he did Friday the 13th Part 2 and 3, which I don't like, and you all know about my hate for Halloween H2O.
Okay.
So there you go. So there's that. But yeah, Tom fucking Atkins in Night of the Creeps. That's just, like you mentioned, the Easter egg, the Go Monster Squad. That's just so cool that they were able to get this movie greenlit, because this movie is just... Fred Dekker's childhood come to life, and that's what he wanted to do. He wanted to make this movie Little Rascals or the Goonies meets the 1930s Universal monsters. And that sucks that Universal didn't want to make the movie. TriStar did, so they greenlit the film. And because of that, because they didn't have the rights to these characters, they had to be very careful when it came to the makeup design. They had to alter the design so that they weren't sued in court.
Yeah.
And they did a great job with these monsters, because I would say that a lot of them are vast improvements over what they originally were.
Well, with all the stuff they had to add to make it different, actually it made him, I guess, a little scarier. Like, I'd say Gilman alone, is probably the most badass looking thing out of the entire movie.
Fucking Gilman!
Dude, he's like creaming his pants over there, just thinking about Gilman. I mean, even look at Frankenstein's monster. They changed the electrodes from the neck to the side of the temple so they had something to, jolt him to life. But
also, isn't the monster actually just known as Frankenstein in this, actually?
I think so.
He is.
So, little differences, but it was they added more scars and stuff like that. I thought that was actually, really smart of them. Wasn't it Sam Winston who did a lot of the makeup?
Sam Winston did a lot. They got him on board, which was a huge plus for the film's bolstering all that energy. They got one of the best top makeup and effects artists to helm this movie, to be a part of it. They modeled the Wolfman's face from Stan Winston. Yeah, it was his face that they used as the template for Wolfman, which I thought was kind of cool. They made him look more more Lupin. They gave him the pointy ears to try and differentiate it from the 1930s Wolfman. So, I mean, good job for them for altering it. They made the mummy look more skeletal.
Yeah, they did.
Which was awesome. That actor is incredibly skinny, and he's actually made a career off of just being how skinny he is. He played William Stryker's son in X-Men 2.
Oh, wow.
That's him.
Oh, shit. That's the dude who was Skinny Bane in Batman and Robin.
Yeah, that's also him too. Skinny Bane, before he got...
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Before he got his gains.
His gains.
So yeah, he's made a career just of how small and petite and skinny he is, and he was able to play the mummy really well. That's the mummy I've always wanted to see, where he actually looked like you could see his skull through the bandages, and not so much maybe an actor with some makeup here and there. But as Jeff mentioned before, Gilman, my favorite of the monsters, Gilman. That is the Gilman I've always wanted to see in any horror film. He looks far superior to the 1950s Creature from the Black Lagoon. He's got green spikes on his back. He looks like a piranha. He's got muscles. He's got all these incredible features, and they didn't use him enough. They didn't put him in this movie enough. If I was like a whisper in Fred Decker's ear, if he saw Gilman and they said, okay, he's camera ready, I would have been that soft, subtle whisper in Fred Decker's ear saying, give him more screen time. Give him more screen time. Please. I don't care how much of the budget you have to eke into. Give that fucking thing more screen time. Make him the right hand of Dracula. Give him a fight scene. Give him a sewer sequence. Put him in a fucking fight against Aquaman.
Eat a baby.
Seriously, I want to see that fucking thing battle Aquaman. That's how awesome he looked in that movie. And then he gets fucking taken out like a punk, shotgun blast to the chest. Come on, man.
I don't know, man. The amount of cops he killed prior to that.
He killed 2. I saw him kill 2. That wasn't enough.
Is there a director's cut?
Yeah.
Well, actually, there is probably something like that because they had a strict 90-minute runtime for this movie. Originally, it was an hour 45, and they had to cut back 15 minutes.
Let's say it made 82 minutes.
Yeah, 82 minutes, and then with credits, they brought it to 90. So, I mean, good for them for at least making a fast-paced movie that, didn't slow down. It kept moving, so they had to work with what they had. But I want to see that extended cut. I really do. Because if there's any footage of Gilman, I'll be there to see it.
Here's the bad thing. It might not exist now because of all the footage being tossed, whatever, damaged, and not really knowing what they had till, almost 10 years later.
Yeah.
Like you said, until it hit VHS and got that status, like, nobody knew how good the movie really was.
No.
It wasn't until, like, Andre's friends and people that they knew started saying, like, hey, this is really good, you should check it out. And it was kind of like one of those things, like, it built up rather than, oh yeah, here you go.
Yeah. I mean, fuck, this is the best team-up of monsters that we've ever gotten that Universal hasn't released. I mean, they tried with 2016's The Mummy with Tom Cruise for all the issues that movie had. There are some things I do like, but there are some things that are just really bad and off with that movie.
I admit, I never knew this movie existed until Jeff.
Until Jeff, okay.
Yeah, I think you posted something about like a dream car to have, and you said you wanted that dragster that the Dracula had.
Oh yeah, the hearse, man, dude.
Yeah,
he drives the hearse.
And I was like, what's this? So I looked it up, and I was like, oh, that is pretty wild.
Yeah.
I mean, I still would have taken the Batmobile, but I mean, that car did look wild, and then I knew nothing about it until his bachelor party where we went to a horror convention.
I want to hear this story about the bachelor party because there's a funny story behind it, isn't there?
Us being dicks the whole way up.
Yeah, really.
Cars and guys, and we're playing with walkie-talkies the whole way, telling like bad jokes. Just kept going, and then when we got there, I saw that this movie was playing, and I was like, yo, this is probably the most amazing movie you've never even heard of. And they're like, what? And I give a little quick synopsis, and they're like, okay. And then when they watched it, like, oh shit, it is actually really good. And that was the thing, like, it like, right off the bat, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever, fucking weirdo.
Well, it's because we were at a horror convention, and it was like, he was all excited about this movie, and we were like, oh, okay, this is what you want to do. It's your bachelor party. You know?
So, like, getting to see it like on a bigger screen was cool, but it's like it didn't have the same effect as like seeing it in a theater.
Yeah.
But it was fine because we
had your day, man.
Yeah, that's how we felt. We were like, oh, okay. You know, we're like walking around, and he's like going through the pamphlet. It's like Monster Squad at like 10. Oh shit! We're like, oh, you want to do this? Like, hell yeah, man! You want to do this? And the answer for me was no. I never saw it. And it was like, dude, come on.
This is the only time I've ever thought it was the funniest thing ever. Having Michael Myers sit 2 rows in front of us and watching the movie.
Because then we saw Halloween 2. There was like a big Halloween 2 theme that convention, and then they played Halloween 2 then, and we watched that as well. But yeah, this one dude was in a Michael Myers attire, had the mask on the whole time.
And dedication.
Both movies.
Both movies. And he literally would like just do the head turn and look at people. I mean, it got to the point where we were like, like this guy wasn't standing up or nothing, and we're thinking, this dude's probably gonna kill somebody for real.
This guy's a method actor, or he really is Michael Myers.
We were seriously thinking, what's up with this guy? Like, no bathroom break, no, like, not taking the mask off, just scanning it. It's like, is he like really into character, or is this one of these guys that just, here's my opportunity to kill a bunch of people, and I'm gonna wear a Michael Myers costume, and I don't even care if it's appropriate. I just know that I can wear a costume and get away with it. It's like,
And then you look at his movie scene and you realize that the bottom floor is covered in piss. He's been pissing himself, holding it, not holding it in.
That I don't know.
I don't know. Oh, man.
I just know he was a highlight of being in that auditorium, and we're like, look at this guy.
I mean, I was a kid when I first saw this movie. My dad knew that I was a huge fan of horror movies, and he knew I was like becoming infatuated with the creature concepts of Universal monsters and just loving Halloween so much that he rented this movie for me when I was 8. So I saw this movie when I was 8 years old, and I think I burned through it constantly, like on a almost week-to-week basis. I just wanted to watch this movie because I wanted to see the damn monsters, because they look so fucking cool. Even though there were more, like, I know there's some moments that terrify me, but I don't care. I don't really care because I just love what I'm seeing right now. And I thought, like, Universal, they got something going here, and then you realize it's not Universal. You know, TriStar Pictures did this whole movie. Now, there was a lot that was initially planned for this movie. In fact, Shane Black co-wrote the script with Fred Dekker. He planned a huge opening for this movie. Some early sketches and concept art that I saw, it showed Van Helsing laying siege to Dracula's castle in a Zeppelin with bombs and machine gun fire, and he wanted to have all these brides of Dracula riding on horseback out of the castle, and they basically collide in a huge fight.
I think he said 40 brides of Dracula. I'm like, what?
No, 400.
Oh, it was a 400. I thought it was originally 40, but still, that's a decent.
He wanted like 4. He wanted to go all out, all these extras, all of these people.
So his whole budget was blown on the opening.
Yeah. And then Fred Dekker's like, you realize that you just shot the budget up from 12 million to 100 million. This one scene alone is going to cost everything.
Hell, might as well just throw Bruce Campbell in it and, give him the chainsaw arm. Yeah. Be like, I'm here too.
Oh, I know, seriously.
That'd be a perfect way to tie that in.
See what I did there?
So instead of a Zeppelin machine gun fire sequence, they got a Led Zeppelin. Boo. That didn't work.
The band did, though.
The band did. So, yeah, they really condensed it down. I do like how it opens with just like a little red lettering blurb about how they tried to stop Dracula and they blew it.
Yeah.
That was really kind of funny. The matte painting for Dracula's castle looks really fucking cool. There's a lot of good matte painting artwork in this. It really sets the tone. I like the armadillos, which is a good throwback to the original 1930s Dracula.
Armadillo.
Yeah, armadillos in the crypt scenes with the brides coming out of the tombs, and then you see Dracula's transformation. I knew they didn't have the budget to show the full transformation, so they wisely used what they could with shadow work, and even with the Wolfman too. Like, they weren't going to top an American Werewolf in London or the Howling transition scene, because that showed everything. So they wisely just condensed it and said, okay, we know we have a 90-minute runtime. Let's make this quick. Let's make this simple. Let's make it be effective and use shadows to our advantage. And it worked.
Shadows are a great element in filmmaking.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what I think is a major thing that's missing nowadays, because it's just all CGI, and it's it's not utilized with lighting anymore, and that classic technique is gone in cinematography, and I think it's a damn shame. Because that was such a beautiful medium, and it made movies like more hands-on and authentic. Mm-hmm. When you could play around with lights and create what they called a cookie. It's like short for cucaloris, where you would make a kind of like a tracer element or something, and then you'd put it in front of the light and it would kind of like give it like a silhouette of sorts.
Okay.
That's like a layman definition, I guess, to call a cookie.
Okay.
And I just don't see or hear about that so much anymore, and it's a damn shame, because like I said, it's like all CGI now.
Yeah. Some of the special effects really do hold up. Some are a little obvious, especially when it comes to the limbo scene in the very beginning. It's pretty obvious that it's not real at all.
Honestly, that's probably a cool opening. Like, that's what I was saying. Like, we were talking about Bruce Campbell and the vortex. Like, it's a perfect like way to like bridge those two universes together.
Yes, good and evil basically is what it comes down to, with the amulet being the vessel that creates the limbo. I'm not sure how they fucked this up, because I guess it's the girl that they brought in, the virgin, because they have to have the words of a virgin open this portal, and I guess she didn't say the lines correctly. Maybe it's like an Ash versus Evil Dead type of thing, where you didn't say every tiny little syllable correctly, so therefore it basically opens up, but against them, so it sucks all of them in, or at least you're led to believe, which is why they messed up. You don't see Van Helsing getting sucked in there, but you're led to believe that's what happened.
Well, yeah, like pretty much that whole opening is just like a quick, like, here you go, they fucked up, and then all of a sudden it jumps ahead to what, 86, 87?
100 years later. Yeah. You got kids who are like on the verge of summer break. Is that what it is, basically?
Yeah, they're like pretty much not giving a fuck. It's school. They're ready to go. It's warm out.
A teacher wants to talk to them about how they're not doing well in school with Patrick and Sean. Like, they're too busy drawing monsters for their monster club, and they're not really invested in science. Now, here's the thing. This teacher's going about it the wrong way. He needs to approach this shit like Jesse Pinkman from Breaking Bad. He needs to do, like,
yeah, bitch.
Yes, science.
Seriously, he needs to have that mentality. Instead, the kids they need to approach this shit like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Hey, you're right, stupid science bitch.
Seriously, they couldn't make I More Smarter. Let's get out of here. Like, we got summer to worry about now. Oh man. And then you get introduced to all these characters that are part of the squad. You got Horace, who is overweight, and he's getting bullied constantly.
Horace. I'm sorry, you ever see Schitt's Creek?
Yes.
Yeah. You know how, what was his name? Sam Elliott? His name's Roland Shit?
Yeah.
His grandfather's name is Horace. So it's Horace Shit.
Horse shit.
So every time I hear the name Horace, I think of Schitt's Creek. Oh, my grandpa Horace Shit.
It's funny. It really is.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you,
No.
That was just too good not to bring it up.
It is funny. I mean, forget the fact that it's an Egyptian god name. No, it's horse shit that comes out. You get Rudy, who comes in, like, he looks like he stepped out of the 1950s. He looks like
he's supposed to be the tough kid, the, like, rebel.
The rebel. He's dressed like a greaser. He looks like he came out of a Stephen King novel.
Hold on, except for the loafers. I don't know what the fuck that was. He comes out, he's wearing the leather jacket, the slick back hair, the glasses, and I'm like, is he wearing fucking loafers?
I mean, he doesn't really fit in his own age group, because he's kind of considered an outcast in his age group, but the younger kids look up to him like, oh my god, he's so fucking cool.
Oh, wait. Sorry, but talking about the loafers, and I was just thinking, what was up with loafers? And I'm thinking, wait a minute, 80s, Miami Vice. And remember Grand Theft Auto Vice City? Like, you play as that character that was voiced by Ray Liotta, and you're like, okay, this guy seems alright, but he's wearing fucking loafers. So I guess it's an 80s thing. Like, oh yeah, I'm so cool, but I'm gonna wear loafers.
I was like, dude, I can understand, like, the boots, whatever, to go with the look that he had going. Even like the Chucks, because, they've been around since the 50s.
The Chucks.
I mean, but loafers, man, dude? I get it. He comes in and saves the day with Horace, and what do they call him, Fat Kid?
They call him Fat Kid.
So it's like, he's getting bullied. He comes in and bullies the bullies, and, like, they smack the shit out of a Snickers bar out of Horace's hand, and then he's like, yo, you better eat that now.
Yeah.
And he makes the bullies eat it.
He does. No, he does. And he's one of my favorite characters, at least from the kid standpoint. There are two that stand out for me. It's him. He might as well be the fucking monster killer, because he does so much in this damn movie. And Sean's sister, Phoebe.
Yo, Phoebe. Phoebe the Phoebe.
Phoebe the Phoebe. Oh, bless her heart. Ashley Bank is who plays Phoebe, and she's gone on to have a pretty decent film career. I think she's retired now from it, but she had a couple success. I think she actually turned down a role in Fatal Attraction so she could be in Monster Squad.
Hell yeah.
That's pretty fucking cool, though.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, that was really nice. We talked about Horace, Fat Kid. Brent Shalem, bless his soul, because he also sadly passed away from complications to pneumonia at the age of 22.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So
he didn't get to see the success of the movie.
No, he did not. I don't think he did many acting movies after Monster Squad, but it's just sad. Like, pneumonia is what took him out, which is that sucks.
But that's the beautiful thing about a movie like Monster Squad, though, is now that even though he didn't see the success, he's part of something that's gonna live on.
Yeah.
And it has this amazing following that, like I said, yeah, it's a damn shame that he didn't participate in seeing what it was because of his unfortunate passing. But it's kind of like what we say about musicians like Freddie Mercury and other people who passed away too soon, and that we miss them. But they live on forever because of like all their amazing talent that they just had, and because he was in something like this, he's still getting appreciated for that. So that's what's really cool about movies and music and art in general. So even though it's sad and unfortunate, his family and loved ones and fans now have something to remember him by like that. So that's really, I mean, it's bittersweet.
It's bittersweet. That's a good way to put it. I'm trying to think of other actors. Duncan Rager, who plays Count Dracula, he did a fantastic job in this movie. In fact, I think because of his performance in this movie, the character Dracula rose in popularity because of how good specifically he was in the 80s, because he was kind of on the downslope. I mean, you've got the 1930s Dracula, you've got the Hammer horror films. Christopher Lee really made Dracula his own and was awesome. And then he was kind of in limbo for so long, and then he comes in and he actually won the part over Liam Neeson, who was going to be Dracula.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I thought that was kind of incredible, and this is really the one role that he's known for too. He had a pretty big TV career, and he found some consistent work here and there, but nothing really topped this performance. Nothing really topped him in this role, and it comes to my attention that there's really not many big names in this specific movie. I think the biggest name is actually Tom Noonan, who plays Frankenstein.
Yeah.
He might be the biggest name attached to this film. And
honestly, this isn't the movie I always like associate him with. It's actually Last Action Hero with the X Killer.
Yeah.
And it's like whenever
Jack the Ripper.
Yeah. And
just the Ripper, because Arnold was Jack Slater, so you had Jack and the Ripper.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was funny because like he's in Castle Freak. He's been doing this for a long time, but literally the only movie that sticks out to me is Last Action Hero.
I mean, he was the Tooth Fairy and Manhunter, which was the original Red Dragon.
That's actually where they saw him to do this movie.
Okay.
Which I thought was kind of cool. I'm like, oh shit, so they already had somebody in mind, and yeah, he plays fucking creepy in that movie.
He is.
I was just gonna say, like, he doesn't get credit for being as good as he is, because I've seen him in like little things here and there. RoboCop 2, he was Kane, and then became like the Robo-Kane.
Robo-Kane.
But like just about everything I've seen Tom Noonan in, he does a fantastic job at it. So I like when I see his name, I'm like, okay, I have faith that there'll be a good performance from this guy.
Yeah.
He's like such a standout character. Like when you see him,
he's tall.
He's tall. He's got this like big bald head, and he just has like facial features where nobody like looks like him.
Mm-hmm.
So like you can tell it like when Tom Noonan's in something. It's kind of like Michael Berryman, but I mean he doesn't have like not to be mean about Michael Berryman, but like deformities to his face.
Okay.
But he's just like a standout sort of structural feature kind of person.
Yes.
Yeah, it was like first time seeing Castle Freak, I instantly knew who it was because, like you said, he has the facial features, and like even with the prosthetics on, you'd still get that throw.
Yeah,
and like his mannerisms too, kind of like pass from creature to creature, so you know how he is, how he's gonna be. So it's kind of cool seeing that like progress too.
He also has a cool sounding voice.
Yeah,
I think he has like this. I don't know how you describe it, but.
It's like the voice doesn't match the physical appearance of him.
That's a good way to say it, because I always think of him in Manhunter and the scene where he's got the projector and he's making the reporter, and like I just keep remembering the "Do you see?" And he clicks on another image and he's like, "Do you see?" And it's like so creepy, and it's just like this kind of soft-spoken sounding voice.
He's soft-spoken, yeah.
And I'm thinking, this dude's a psycho killer. But it's just like, oh my god, he's making the moment like comfortable in an uncomfortable situation, because it's like, just listen to my voice. I'm going to kill you now.
I wish you saw his performance in The House of the Devil in 2005. It's a great indie horror film directed by Ty West. He basically is just himself, but he is like the main villain of that movie. Really terrifying film. 2005, one of the best horror movies, I think, that went under the radar in that decade. Check it out. I don't want to spoil anything for it, but Ty West directed it, and he's the main villain in it. He's really fucking creepy in that movie. Really great stuff. And he definitely, his approach to this character was, you could say method acting, because he did not want to interact with the kids off camera with or without his makeup on. he wanted to basically sell the idea that he was Frankenstein and not Tom Noonan.
Oh, I heard a little bit differently.
You heard, okay.
And the little girl, Ashley.
Ashley.
Yeah, they actually had a friendship on and off the camera because of having to work together.
Well, that makes sense because he's the first child that he sees.
Yeah, and it watching the documentary they have on the 20th anniversary, you can tell they both were fucking with each other on the documentary too. Because they're saying like how unprofessional they were. They were talking about like doing stupid shit to make them laugh, and like
that's funny.
They're both acting like they're being professional right now.
He's like with the other kids that he didn't have.
I know definitely with the dude that played Dracula, he did not want to interact with the kids at all because he wanted to be the villain. Mm-hmm. So like, yeah, you're gonna pal around with the villain, and all of a sudden you gotta turn around and actually be scared of the guy. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
I know Kate Hunter does that too. He doesn't really interact with anybody if he's gonna kill them. It's like, oh, first appearance, fuck off, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah,
as I point to Colin.
And after you die, we'll have a beer, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Colin pointed to the photograph of Jeff dressed up as Jason, choking the shit out of both of us.
Well, yeah, I got targeted in every picture to die.
Yeah. I think that was the only time I got both of you.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, even if it wasn't the both of us, it was me. When it was John as Michael Myers, it was me.
Yeah.
Can't help it the way I look.
But yeah, I think he definitely was like the biggest name that this movie had. Easily. The plot of Monster Squad.
Oh yeah, I'm like, dude, we're just talking. I'm like, hey, we
kind of ludicrous. Pretty fucking ludicrous. I'm gonna do a Jeff here. So you're telling me Van Helsing's diary was bought at a yard sale by Sean's mother.
Absolutely.
Sean and his friends just so happened to get their hands on it almost exactly 100 years ago from the first attempt at stopping Dracula. Dracula, how could you have allowed this to happen? Come on, man. Like, what are you doing? And then they meet the creepy German guy because it's all in German to translate everything. What a coincidence. This is going to happen tomorrow night. You've got 24 hours to save the world. Go.
Okay, hold on.
That's the plot.
It's Hollywood.
It's an 80s plot. Yeah. I know. It's an 80s movie.
It's fun.
But when you start thinking about it, because this movie really doesn't want you to...
It's all coincidental.
They don't want you to ask questions. They don't want you to know what the connection is between all these monsters. Their only connection is that they're just monsters, and they just so happen to convene with one another to bring Frankenstein back to life.
Yeah, essentially, they are Dracula's bitch. If you look at the movie as a whole, he uses them to get what he wants. Exactly. Where he uses them to get Frankenstein's body... he uses Frankenstein to be his right-hand man. Mm-hmm. Because, he's a big, dumb monster. When, truthfully, as the movie progresses, you find out he has more depth than just being a big, dumb monster.
He does.
He's a hero monster.
Yeah, he's a hero monster. Dracula tells him, if you get a hold of this diary and the kids try to intervene, you kill them.
You can't.
Yeah. He doesn't want to because Phoebe. And... another good thing this movie does is that it really does pay a great homage, not just the armadillos in the beginning, but also to the nature of the monsters themselves, because that scene where Frankenstein meets Phoebe for the first time, that's back to the 1930s Frankenstein movie, where he meets a little girl, tragically kills her, and that's not what happens in this movie. It's a friendship that blossoms. That was originally what was supposed to happen.
Oh, do the same thing?
Yeah.
Which would suck, because it changes the story a bit.
Yeah,
because as the story's going on, we introduce all the characters. So at the time that the kids are being introduced and making fun of the bully, at the same time Dracula is now being shipped from one place to another in a box.
It's casually mentioned by the pilots in that plane that they're bodies from World War II.
Yeah, and they're transporting. I think it's him and Frankenstein's monster, because his monster being the guard.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden they crash because, Dracula got hungry and couldn't fucking help himself.
Exactly.
And that all of a sudden starts opening the door for all the other monsters that convene to find Frankenstein's monster's body.
Yes. And there just so happens to be a guy claiming to be the Wolfman, too.
Yeah.
He gets arrested by cops.
Oh, yeah, dude.
He beats the shit out of a bunch of cops, and he fires his gun in a police station, yelling at all of them to lock him up. Of course they're going to shoot you dead, man.
That's smart.
Well, he wanted to protect everybody by getting himself locked up.
And that was another good thing, that they also made Wolfman a tragic villain, because he's a guy that doesn't want to hurt anybody. He's a guy that doesn't want to turn into this monster, and yet he can't help it. He's begging people to kill him. and it's not working.
Also, you should say this, but you know who the actor is?
Oh, I do. This guy would survive the end of this movie, and he would go on to be the uncle for Napoleon Dynamite. He would go on to be Uncle Rico.
Him?
He is Uncle Rico. Yes, from Napoleon Dynamite.
I never put that correlation together. That's
Just
horrible.
Piece that together, seriously. This is a guy who could boast about throwing a football over mountains.
He didn't boast about being a werewolf.
He didn't boast about being a werewolf in the movie. No, he should have, though, but he didn't. I just thought that was hilarious. I did one of those double take things. That's him? That's Uncle Rico?
You think of him and that steak that he had in Napoleon Dynamite.
Dude, all that steak, he just kept eating it.
Oh, I know. But I could throw a pigskin quarter mile through the steak at John Heater as he's riding the bike. Oh, what the heck are you doing?
That's the wolf man.
Throwing footballs at video cameras.
And I think at that same moment, I'm gonna like overpass Napoleon Dynamite.
It's great stuff. But it does keep the plot moving and everything. That's what's important because, like I said, 90-minute runtime they had to work with.
Well, even at that moment, so they're introducing Wolfman in the police station. Then they introduce Sean's dad. Come to find out he's a workaholic and kind of like against this kid being like under the whole horror junk.
Yeah, he's a cop.
Yeah.
And it's causing a strain in the marriage. And I can definitely see that Shane Black's obvious contribution to the script, him being a cop and there being mother-father drama that going on. That's definitely his writing, that's for sure. And as well as the humor, too. The kids throwing in all the humor and the quips and the one-liners, that's got to be him.
I was also laughing at the fact that they're sitting on the roof watching a drive-in movie.
And that's another matte painting that's so awesome.
Oh, really? I just thought
that's
it was
a matte painting of
like,
the drive-in.
He goes and finds Sean. He goes to do that heartfelt moment. And I'm like, they're sitting on the roof. I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? And then all of a sudden it pans over to like they're watching a movie at the drive-in.
I wanted to do that. Like when I was a kid, like, hey, Dad, can I go on the roof and just be a kid and wish there was a drive-in movie theater out there and just do things on the roof? Can I be a roof kid?
No, what the fuck?
I mean, but he's doing it in the movie. And his dad, he's got Burger King for him. Speaking of which, let's talk a little bit about Burger King. It's pretty obvious. Burger King, they gave him some money for this movie. I can just see the commercials right now. Hey, kids, you like monsters? You like fast food burgers? Well, what if I told you could have both?
Well, hell, Burger King is actually like a big inspiration to me because of the Universal Monsters, because as a kid, they had the toys of the Universal Monsters.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes a lot of sense now, looking back on how they had product placement for those guys. And then later on, they still had a correlation with them.
They mention it by name. They eat Burger King, fast food on top of the roof. And you can even see during the third act, all the buildings have lost all the power except Burger King, which is illuminated in yellow neon lights as the brides of Dracula are coming towards them.
It's because it's the home of the Whopper.
Dude.
You can't, dude, it's the king of the town.
The king of the town.
I mean,
my brother literally thought he was the fucking Burger King. Dick Cook.
Oh my god.
But yeah, I just can't help
memories with Burger King.
I just can't help but notice this right now.
We love Burger King.
Loved. Now that we're in our third.
No.
Loved Burger King.
I can't even smell it right now without going.
Yeah, but those BK double stackers. Oh man.
Making me hungry now, dude.
I'm sorry. They were so good. The 99
I had the body of a middle-aged man.
The chicken sandwiches and then the chicken nugget. Oh, dude. I gotta stop.
You gonna go get Burger King after
No.
Eat a whole bunch of Burger King and pass out?
No.
They got breakfast at this hour.
No, I can just eat a whole pizza if I wanted to pass out.
The 90 gallons of grease all over. Here you go.
Oh my god.
I mean, honestly, I try to avoid fast food anymore. Just like a breakfast sandwich from Dunkin' Donuts or Wawa, mainly. But yeah, I can't do that shit anymore. Especially because it's cheap. You know, I'd rather have a really good burger. But man, back in the day, though.
Back in the day,
that shit was banging.
That was usually our Friday and Saturday night was horror movies and a shit ton of Burger King. Was it like the $1 burgers and like 10, 15 of them?
Well, remember when they had that commercial with like the guys that would like give a Wendy's sandwich or a quarter pounder or whatever McDonald's has, and then everybody'd be like, "Oh, this isn't a Whopper," and there was that one guy that said, "Get me a Whopper."
And then we live like 10 minutes away, so definitely.
See, I was more of a McDonald's kid, but I think after seeing this movie, I really wanted Burger King instead.
Well, plus, Burger King was also the sponsor for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as well. So.
Were they really?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, don't you remember at the beginning when you see Danny open up like the Whopper box?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that old school symbol is always going to stick out.
Oh, yeah.
And then
you're right.
Burger King also had those VHS tapes of the cartoon series and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I actually had a poster that they had advertising that from the Ninja Turtles.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I forget what movie it is they're watching the drive-in movie theater. It was like a Jason knockoff sequel. It was like part 6. The kid just wanted to see a stupid movie.
Everything's a knockoff in this.
Oh, I know.
It's a knockoff of a knockoff.
A knockoff of a knockoff. But they do have that nice father-son moment in the bedroom where they talk about how the monster's not really real. Why do you want to see this stuff? Because it's not real problems. Real life is real problems. And they have this really nice heart-to-heart moment. It gives the character some depth because I wish there was more for some of these characters, especially the creepy German guy. The most we get to learn about him is that he's a Holocaust survivor.
Yeah.
And I wish they did more with him. I forget that actor's name. I know he's had a pretty decent career. I do remember him from that really bad Amityville 2 sequel, The Possession, which is a ripoff of The Exorcist. He's a priest in one of the scenes. It's a bad movie, but he does a really good job. I just wish he had more depth. Because it goes back to what we said about the Scream Queen episode about what real monsters are. He knows a thing or two about real monsters. They're not what we see in film. They're not werewolves, vampires, aliens. They're human beings that look as real as you and me.
Yeah.
And just that one little shot where he sends the kids packing and you just see the brand tattoo on his arm. That's all you need. But I wish we had more from him. Because he was pretty awesome in the movie, too.
Yeah. Yeah. He was probably the only adult that actually listened to the kids.
Oh, I know. Because he's reading Van Helsing's diary and realizes, oh, shit, this is some apocalyptic shit that's about to come crashing down in our town. Is it Louisiana?
I don't even remember. Because, like, it's funny. Because, like, even, like, we're looking into this movie, I'm like, I didn't even look at what town it was.
Because they find Frankenstein's box
in the swamp.
In a swamp. I want to believe it's in the south somewhere. You've got fucking Gilman lifting that goddamn thing out of the water and throws it onto the fucking land. And then you've got the team up of monsters uniting, which I think is one of the coolest scenes. You see them all convene.
You forgot, like, the introduction of Mummy, too, was actually pretty cool because
the Mummy was
the
awesome.
cops get called to the museum and someone thought they stole the body.
Yeah.
They're just, like, fucking waltzed out.
I know. He's walking. He's limping out of there. But, yeah, he looked really fucking cool. And then all of a sudden, the guy driving the guy they shot in the police station is now gone, too, except the coroner's body's discovered.
Yeah.
You see a really cool werewolf transformation. You see just enough. You just see the arm twitching. You see the foot coming through the shoe. And then you just see the fucking werewolf. And he just rips the guy to pieces. It's really awesome. So they really do set up this really well. It's always moving, as I said before. Good pacing, keeps this movie flowing.
The introduction of them all coming together in Frankenstein's body. And I thought that was actually pretty funny. It's like, oh shit, like Gilman literally lifts it up like it's a fucking over his head and just throws it up on the shore.
See,
like,
you're using his strength right there. Why don't you put more of that in the film? No, this guy can lift the fucking casket over his head and throw it on land.
And I'm guessing Frankenstein's body is not light at all because he's a big dude.
He's a big dude. He's composed of different body parts. This guy is not a feather.
I don't know. I think it'd be a bunch of dead weight.
Get out.
Get the fuck out of here right now. That's slightly better than my joke. That's slightly better than my Led Zeppelin joke.
At least we had a laugh out of it.
Yeah, you did. But I just love that moment where Frankenstein comes to life and they're all, the lightning's in the background. They're like, we are an elite shit-wrecking crew. We are going to wreak so much havoc. Our only weakness is children.
Oh, you damn kids. Hey, remember that, Jeff?
I forget, like, in the Monster Club, how Sean discovers that it's actually Dracula. Doesn't he do, like, a run of the license plate?
Yeah.
And the letters convene to Dracula, and that's how he puts together this whole thing. Oh, my God, I think there's some really serious shit going down. A body's missing from the ambulance, a mummy's gone, and I think Count Dracula's helping them out.
I think it's actually Dracula backwards. Or something like an anagram for Dracula.
It's an anagram for Dracula.
I was trying to see if it was actually right here.
That's funny. And then Rudy joins the club. They try to approach Rudy like, hey, we know you're this older kid. We look up to you. You're really fucking cool. Would you consider joining our monster club?
And they test him on like his monster knowledge, like asking like, how do you kill werewolf man? What do you blah blah? I'm like, that's it. That's how you join the squad.
Silver bullet.
Yeah,
that's all you need.
And the whole time he literally just sitting there to check on the hot neighbor chick, or is it the one guy's sister?
It was Patrick's sister that he wants to like get with. Obviously, she's much older than him, so good luck with that one.
And Phoebe wants to join the club, but they're like, no girls allowed.
I know. It's oh god, it's such nostalgia because every boy was like that. Like, no girls allowed in our club. This is strictly boys only.
I mean, like, dude, that treehouse alone was kind of badass. Like, seeing it from the outside, it looks like a child built it.
Oh, I know.
Like on the inside, it's all this horror shit everywhere.
It's really cool. It's
awesome.
awesome.
It looks bigger. It's like the TARDIS.
Yeah.
It's bigger on the inside.
Yeah.
From the outside, it looks like it's like, all right, cool. It's I'd say like 10 by 16, if even that. On the inside, it's like my whole fucking basement.
But this is what makes Phoebe badass. She's not terrified of Frankenstein. The boys are. As soon as she brings him to the backyard, they run away in fear. And she's like, don't be chicken shit.
Yeah. Isn't the one kid hiding in the trash can?
I know. He's like, hey guys, can I join the club now? I found an actual monster. What did you guys do?
I mean, even the introduction of Frankenstein's monster when he goes at Phoebe, like, I love the cutoff too. Like, they made it seem like she's dead, and all of a sudden she appears back with him, holding his hand.
I know.
Isn't that cool, like, sunset shot?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's really neat. He does have a really sad moment, though. They give him the Frankenstein mask, and he kind of realizes, oh, am I scary? Am I scary?
Like, smacks it out, yeah. Scary.
Yeah, he's like, this is not who I want to be. I don't like who I am, but you guys accept me, and we're walking off in the sunset, which is cool.
And it's like, what is it, 24 hours? They have this nice bonding time with Frankenstein's monster.
You've still got 24 hours before this fucking shit goes down. I know, I get it, though. It's an 80s plot. We keep going back to that.
But like the whole time, like once they figure out what they need, they have to find a virgin to read. So they think Patrick's sister is a virgin because she's like, I didn't sleep with anybody.
You didn't? Have you ever been dorked?
Yeah, I couldn't think of the word.
That was Rudy's lie. Have you ever been dorked? Oh, if you don't help us out, we're going to blackmail you because our friend Frankenstein took a picture of you while you were in the window changing.
Yeah, because I love the scene when they figure out that this happened. Frankenstein's mom, Rudy's like looking through the pictures. He's like, oh, he drops his drink. And then later they show a cut of Frankenstein's monster like holding it above the little kids' heads, like, oh yeah.
Yeah, look what I got here. They even go to the cafeteria scene where they ask Rudy, hey, you know any virgins? He has like a spit out soda moment, which is really funny. But he does a lot. Rudy does a lot in this movie, you know, with the bow and arrow. And he actually he makes a couple rounds of silver bullets in shop class in high school. He makes fucking silver bullets during an 80s montage. That's fucking awesome.
Oh my god. I love the fact that, like, this whole time, like, Dracula's still trying to figure out where the book's at, where the amulet's at. And it's like, the kids already know all this. They're, like, building up to it.
I go back to this. Dracula, how could you have let this happen? How could you have let Van Helsing's diary fall to a yard sale and you let kids get it? How could you let this happen, man? Another thing that I wish he did more of is that I wish Dracula actually did more Dracula shit. He doesn't use his claws. All of his bite neck scenes happen off camera. You don't actually see it happen. His weapon of choice is dynamite.
Yeah, that was actually a badass scene, I'm not gonna lie.
There was one really badass scene with the dynamite sticks, but that's what he primarily uses is dynamite. I mean, yes, he does capture 3 women and he bites their necks off camera and turns them into the brides of Dracula at one point. But I wish he kind of, like, used his claw. He uses his brute strength. He does kill a bunch of people. A lot of people, I should say. But no claws. No actual vampire shit.
Well, he does make the car disappear when the cops are driving at him.
Yeah, he does make the cop disappear. That reminds me of Ghostbusters 2 with the train going down the railroad tracks and it goes through Ernie Hudson. That was kind of cool. I like that scene. There's a lot of great ideas in this movie that are well utilized. But here's one that I wish happened. And I'm going to try and contain myself. Why don't they run? Why don't these monsters run?
Whoa.
Now look.
They're 900 and some years old.
Look, here's the thing. I can understand the mummy. He's 2,000 years old. He's got joint pains. He doesn't have it in him anymore. I can understand Frankenstein. He's composed of body parts. Maybe he wasn't a marathon runner. I get why he's slow. But Gillman, Wolfman, Brides of Dracula, and Dracula, What's your excuse?
Okay.
Because the script says you have to walk.
Hold on. They're fighting children. I'm just saying. You're upset about them not running.
I know. Because if they did run, they'd capture the kids, they'd kill them, and the movie would be over. If they actually possessed the ability to run.
20 minutes long.
20 fucking minutes long. But then again...
Gilman's a swimmer.
Yeah, he can't handle...
I want to see him be fast underwater and fast on land, because that would have made him a versatile adversary. Like I said, give him more screen time, and they didn't do it.
You sound like you would need to watch Aquaman. Just go watch that, and you'll get your fast swimmer.
I want to see this Gilman versus Aquaman, as I've said before. It would be awesome. Seriously. That's what I mean. Give him an underwater sequence. They could have had a sequence in the sewer where he fucking kills people underwater, drags them down, and kills them.
The end battle, doesn't he come out of the sewer?
He comes out of the sewer in a fucking awesome moment, pushes that manhole cover, growls, and kills 2 cops right there. We'll get to the very ending with him, because that's... Spoiler alert, that's my least favorite scene.
Really?
My least favorite scene is the death of Gilman. I'm going to say that right now, is how he went out. I'm not pissed off that he died. I'm pissed at the way he died. You have to agree with me on this, because he's a thing of practicality and beauty, and he needed more screen time. He just gets, shotgun blast to the chest? He's dead just like that.
Now you're getting way ahead of yourself.
I don't care. I'm allowed to.
That mad.
I'm allowed to. I'm upset about that.
Honestly, we've already got to the point where both stories are converging now. So Dracula finding the amulet and going after the kids they're all going for the same thing right now. But the funniest moment is when the Wolfman is discovered to be alive still.
Yeah.
He calls the cops.
Hey, you shot me last night. You shot me, and I'm alive right now.
That is one of the coolest sequences. He explains where you can find Dracula, where you can find the amulet, and where you can find him. And I'm like, wait, you just gave up everything right there. The cops.
Oh, I know.
And that's where we get the moment of the cops going to the house and Dracula's car going through them.
Yeah.
Because apparently it's Dracula's fucking house. How the fuck does he forget the amulet's in his basement?
I know. How does he forget that?
Isn't it 666 something drive? I mean, the drive.
Oh, I know. It's so obvious. Yeah. There's a couple homages. Somebody mentions Cheney Cemetery, Lon Chaney. There's a couple things that are referenced, obviously. But also leading up to that moment, Dracula has Wolfman tied to a chair with pills. I think to try and keep him docile or keep him under his control, and he actually spits the pills out and gets out of the chair. Yeah. That's how he gets to the phone booth. Which leads to that really awesome transition from man to Wolfman. It's very brief, very quick. It didn't need to show everything.
They were saying they wanted it different from the 30s Wolfman, but they didn't want full American werewolf.
No, they didn't want that.
So they're trying to do a happy medium where they did some changes off screen, but they showed enough on screen to kind of keep your interest peaked. And then when you get the final full reveal,
I know,
dude, he rips open that fucking phone booth. I was like,
tears up the gas station. Yeah. He was running a little bit there. Why doesn't he do that throughout the whole fucking movie? And that, why don't they run? Why don't they run? It would have added more energy to the movie that already has a lot of energy. It would have maybe they would have focused more on some of the tight action scenes if they actually did run. The kids are maybe more agile than they think. I don't know. Something. Except Horace. He's slow as shit.
So then that's where we get the dynamite scene. So the kids are already going towards the mansion. The cops are going towards the mansion. And Dracula's like, I'm going to kill these fucking kids. He rolls up to Sean's house in that badass car. Yeah. And he lights dynamite without actually, doing anything and throws it into the treehouse. And get that cool scene of the treehouse blowing up. And he goes, meeting a Jade. And walks off.
That's a really awesome
an 80s
line.
Action movie shot. Because it's slow-mo, the explosion behind him. He's walking back to that car. And the cops show up to shoot him.
Yeah. Well, he kills the partner, too. He throws the dynamite stick under the cop car. And he gets blown to pieces.
At that moment, we thought Sean's dad was going to get killed.
I know. He shoots Dracula. And he has that really, 80s villain line, I will have your son. And then he turns into the bat. In front of Sean's mother, too, as... It looked like she was getting ready to leave her husband.
Yeah.
She was packing a bag, getting ready to move out of the house. And then she sees a guy turning into a bat.
That's one of those ones I'm going to leave this motherfucker. This job's killing it. Oh, fuck, nope. I'm going back in the house.
Also, the mother was played by Mary Ellen Trainor, who is a lot of ties to Shane Black. And she was basically everybody's mother in the 80s. Her and Dee Wallace were the mothers of the 80s.
They're the mother figures.
She was Lethal Weapon. She was in Die Hard. She was one of the journalists, one of the reporters.
Goonies.
She was the mother in Goonies.
Yep. She was also married to Robert Zemeckis, and she has a cameo in Back to the Future, too.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's one of the cops that checks out Elizabeth Shue and puts her in the car.
All right.
That's pretty cool.
Nice. Yeah, she had a pretty nice career. She did.
Mm-hmm.
And then the
good looking too.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Isn't she in Search of Darkness too?
I don't know if she is. I know Dee Wallace is, but I'm not sure if Mary Ellen Trainor is.
Because I remember one of the two women they were talking to a lot, and I know Dee Wallace usually has shorter hair.
Yes.
I'm horrible with names. I'm apologizing in advance.
Yeah. Oh man. But yeah, the third act, like, or at least the beginning of the third act, is when this movie like really, like, if it wasn't already picking up, if it wasn't already entertaining as hell, it's even more entertaining as hell now when we get into the third act. The kids getting the amulet. It's all true.
Well, you got to think. They get to the mansion. This is like towards the end of the second.
That's true.
Beginning of the third. They get to the mansion, and the kids get the amulet after fighting Dracula for the first time. Mm-hmm. This is where we get that line, Wolfman's got nards.
Oh, yeah.
Because Wolfman jumps out to get them, and he's like, I think it's Sean screaming, Wolfman's got nards! And like, I think his horse is behind him like,
he doesn't have nards?
Yeah! They're going,
stick him! Do it!
They're doing this back and forth as Wolfman's like, what? And then straight up just kicks him straight in the dick. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, holy shit, they just kicked Wolfman in the dick.
Wolfman's got nards.
Yeah.
Oh, get the fuck out of there, kids! Come on! But this leads me to the why don't they run moment, where the monsters have them cornered, and then they pull the statue head and they like go below, and that's how they get the amulet. But also, the dynamite being triggered early during one scene, it actually causes the building to collapse, and it actually hurts Frankenstein. He actually is knocked unconscious.
Yeah, doesn't it take out Dracula and Frankenstein? That's how they get away?
Yeah. Okay. That's how they used to get away. I do like how they get away from Dracula originally. How, Horace has a slice of pizza because he always has to have food with him. The pizza's got garlic. They push it up against his face, and his face is scalding hot. I love his reaction. He's like, oh, that hurt. Ow, fuck, man. The kids get out.
That sounds really good. Garlic pizza.
Garlic pizza.
Dude, garlic on anything is usually amazing. Not too much. It's good for flavor, but not like overpowering to like you smell like garlic.
Exactly.
Gross.
Yeah, they all convene, which is really cool. They get the virgin, they get the amulet, they got the creepy German guy, they've got the transportation, they've got the weapons. So all they need to do is just get to a church because monsters hate religious stuff.
And then we get the cool moment of like them driving in that old, I don't even know what the hell that kind of car that was.
Jalopy. I don't fucking know what
it's old. It's a creepy German guy's car.
Yeah.
Which is funny. So they're driving, they save the kids from the mansion, and then all of a sudden Mummy starts attacking him, and Rudy, I keep trying to call him
Rudy. This is an awesome scene. That mummy's got fucking jumps.
Yeah,
for a 2,000-year-old dead guy, he jumps on top of the back of the pickup truck. You can see his skull. He's growling. He's trying to get Phoebe. Phoebe's like scared out of her mind. I like how they defeat him, which is really funny.
Doesn't Rudy just shoot part of the wrapping?
They tie the wrappings to a bow and arrow. He shoots it at a tree as they're driving off, and it unravels him slowly and slowly. He realizes,
as he falls apart at the end. I love the fact that they throw a skeleton on the ground.
You just see the skull rolling on the road, and that's where you get the line, "See you later, Band-Aid breath." It's awesome. It's so cool.
So this is leading up to the climax of this movie. So they get to the center of town. Why the center of town? I don't know.
It's always the center of town.
Oh, the church. That's right.
Right, and the church is locked.
Yeah.
No surprise. It's late.
So you get a fight between Wolfman and Sean's dad, and they think he died.
Oh yeah, the bat is coming after the kids. Sean, look out! And then the dad shoots the bat. Shoots Dracula. He goes crashing through a window.
I think the fight scene with that fight between Wolfman and Sean's dad. I can't remember his name.
I just call him Sean's dad.
Yeah, they're fighting, and all of a sudden he pulls him forward, and he turns human, and then jams dynamite down his pants and shoves him back.
Oh, I know, yeah. Fucking Sean smacks him with a crowbar, throws the and that was a really cool scene, pushing Wolfman out the window, and then he explodes into a series of pieces. And then you also have Dracula in mid-transition, which was also kind of creepy too. You see him half human, half bat. He's like, ah.
How was he?
You see the creepy shot of Wolfman coming right behind him, slowly stalking him, and then he just gets in the fight with Sean's dad. And
honestly, that fight lasts a lot longer than you expect because, he's a wolf, and Sean's dad is no slouch.
No slouch. I'm surprised you didn't kill him, but this is Monster Squad, and Wolfman. he does kill people, but I don't think he killed enough people with how physically imposing he is and with what he can do.
Yeah, dude, those traps that he had. It was like, look the fuck out of this
over.
guy.
Like, I'm surprised his clothes are still on his back right now.
Like, Brock Lesnar, huh, you got shit on this guy.
I know. Him coming together because Dynamite can't kill a werewolf.
Yeah.
I love how he just assembles right back into a physical form of Wolfman. You see the arm coming to life. His torso is moving around like, ugh. Oh yeah, that's right. Dynamite can't kill me.
I'd be pissed off. Like, fuck, now you're gonna put myself together.
But before that, Rudy also does some damage in terms of the brides of Dracula. They start approaching. Kills him with like a stake on the bow and arrow. He even has that one line, I'll take care of the brides. He's like, I'm in the damn club, aren't I? He's got like a cigarette in his mouth.
I think it's a match. Like,
is it a match?
It's something stupid.
I don't know. I thought it was a cigarette.
Listen, you can't have kids smoking. It's the only thing
no, you can't. You
can't do.
I'm surprised he was able to pull off like a big fat stake to shoot on that bow and arrow. Shoots perfectly right through one of the brides, and she's like spitting blood out. And Patrick's like, I don't believe this, man.
I love the fact that like they're floating too. Like they're not even like walking really slow. It's like gliding across the ground.
Oh my god! I mean, for fuck's sake, why don't they run? I mean, even Christopher Lee as Dracula, even he ran after people in the Hammer horror movies.
That man's
Dracula, I don't have to run.
Yeah, dude, that man is very imposing without any makeup on.
Mm-hmm. But, God, yeah, Wolfman comes together, and the cops finally show up. Okay, maybe we should start taking these kids seriously. But one thing we forgot to mention, during that 80s montage scene, there's the little kid, Eugene, who first saw the mummy. Him and his beagle.
Yeah.
They're really cute together. He writes a letter to the military with a crayon. Say, hey, army guys, there are monsters here. Please send reinforcements. Help us out, please. Like, come on, kid, this isn't going to work. This isn't going to work. But the cops take everybody seriously, and
they saw the Wolfman.
They saw the Wolfman. Like, okay, maybe we should shoot this damn thing. Oh, it's not working. Let's just gang up on him. That's not going to work. But we go back to that montage, that silver bullet that was created by Rudy. As I said, he's the fucking monster killer, which is why he gets awesome scenes like this. I mean, that's all he has to say. Bang, boom, fucking kills the guy. One shot, one kill.
And the messed up thing is, Wolfman was happy. He's like, I'm dying finally.
Oh, and that's the tragic villain thing. Okay, I'm glad somebody fucking killed me. Thank you, so I can stop killing people and I can just die peacefully.
Jekyll and Hyde syndrome.
Yeah, and then go on to be Napoleon Dynamite's uncle.
But during this whole battle royale at the center of town, you get Gilman coming out of the sewer. That sequence was kind of cool because he just like flips it over like, fuck this.
I know. Fuck this, guys. I'm going to fucking take you all out. But they cut away from his action scene. You see the cops like hitting him with billy clubs. They cut back to the creepy German guy. Oh, yeah, our virgin, she's not actually a virgin.
Yeah. She's like, well, that one time. And they're like,
what do you mean one time? That means you're not a fucking virgin. You don't get do-overs. You don't get like one mulligan and that's it.
Before we get to that, so the fight between Gilman and the cops, they actually had to keep doing it as like a 1-2 shot because he couldn't see. And so when the guys came to hit him, they go, all right, your arm is 1, and then your other arm going down is 2. So that's how the stunt guys are going to work with it.
Okay.
He ends up clocking the one stunt guy in the face because of it. And the rivets from the police hat actually go into the guy's face.
Oh, shit. Ooh.
Yeah, so when he blocks it, he brings his arm down, doesn't realize the fins on the side of the arm are sticking out that far.
Oh, yeah.
Catches him, he hits back, and when they pull the hat off to see what was wrong, blood just shoots out.
Oh, God, I have to look at that again.
Well, they were saying that, like, that's actually in the documentaries. They were saying that was one mess that they didn't realize, because, like, he couldn't see anything, but he, like, blocks it.
I gotta check that shit out. But, I just wish they cut away from it, but Tom Woodruff Jr. is the guy who wore the suit, and I think he also was part of the effects department. And he said, Fred Decker, can you please let me play this character? Because I know this, I designed the suit, I basically want to be this character. And he saw him in the suit and said, all right, here's your shot, here you go, you be Gilman. Gilman, you deserve so much more than just like the brief couple scenes that you were fucking in, man. Horace shoots you with a 12-gauge shotgun, and You could have just ran. Like the script told him not to run. He just walked.
So what you're saying is that scene is horror shit?
Oh, get out of here.
Get the hell out of here, man.
So we get that scene. Gilman, actually we get Horace's like cool badass scene. Because the two bullies are hiding, I think, in the Burger King.
They're hiding in the Burger King.
Because they're running from Gilman, and Horace saves them. And they're like, well, fat kid, you saved him. He cocks the shotgun and goes, my name is Horace. And I'm like, that's so 80s, and it's amazing, and I love it.
Oh, I know. He pumps the shotgun. Yeah. He has to pump the shotgun because it's an 80s movie.
And then as they're discovering that the girl is not a virgin, and they're like, you don't get to do the do-over.
No.
And then they all realize Phoebe is a virgin.
I know she's 5 years old, but hey, he's going to help her out. Just repeat after me, and we're good.
And then, as all this shit is happening, they're trying to keep Dracula at bay, and
he shows up.
Yeah. A creepy German guy is feeding Phoebe the words to open the portal. Mm-hmm. I was like, yo, this is actually a cool moment, because Phoebe's the hero.
She is the hero. Without her, this would not be possible. That's why she's one of the most badass kids in the whole fucking movie. You got like this really cool one shot of Dracula just inching his way closer and closer to them. Cops are useless in this movie. They're just dying left and right. He's breaking necks. He's breaking arms. He's knocking people out.
Yeah, he is probably the most violent character out of like on and off screen, because they show a lot more with him than they do with any of the other monsters.
Oh, they do. Yeah, they made him the leader. I don't know exactly what he does to the German guy. He just kind of like uses some magic, and then he his chest starts glowing, and then the German guy gets thrown away. And then all of a sudden, and then this probably the most terrifying thing in the movie, or at least it was for me and for some people. Now, Fred Decker told the actress Ashley Bank, "When do I scream?" And he says, "Oh, trust me, you'll know, because Duncan Rager didn't put his red contacts in yet. He didn't put his fangs in yet. But as soon as Phoebe got lifted up by her chin, essentially raised up in the air as the parents are screaming for her, and he just says that line, 'Give me the amulet, you bitch.' She fucking screams for her life, and that was a genuine scream. As you can see, like his mouth going green, you can see the fangs and the eyes. She's fucking terrified right now. I think they probably did that in one take.
They probably had to, because like I said, not wearing the contacts or the fangs at all, and then the final reveal.
She's so terrified in this moment right now. And then, oh man, one of my favorite fucking scenes, Frankenstein shows up.
Yeah, he grabs him by the back of the neck like a bad dog, like, no.
And he has that line, bogus. Fucking uppercuts him, and he goes right through a spike.
Oh my gosh.
But it's such a really, also tender, sad moment as she's looking at Frankenstein as she's saying the lines to open the portal, and Frankenstein kind of knows, okay,
it's time.
It's time. I have to go, and if this works, I gotta go. I'm sorry, but I loved our time together. The portal opens up. Everything's getting sucked in, and a few cops, I think, go through.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. Those poor guys, all the bodies are getting pulled in, and then
cops can't catch a fucking break in this movie at all. But then you get one of the most enthralling scenes is when Dracula gets a hold of Sean, tries to take him into the portal. That fucking kid has got balls. He says, "If I'm gonna get sucked in, I'm taking you with me." Takes a fucking spike, shoves it in his chest as he's screaming out loud. I get goosebumps when that happens, because fuck that guy. Fuck Dracula. Fuck you, man. I'm glad if you're going to go down, I'm glad it's at the hands of Sean. Gah! And then you got the music playing in the background. It's very orchestral. It's awesome. But then Van Helsing shows up.
Yo,
it doesn't make sense. I know it doesn't make sense.
Because of them opening the portal to
Limbo.
Yeah, Limbo. I was going to say hell. He's been stuck in limbo this whole time.
That's true.
So he finally gets an opening to, take Dracula with him. And it's kind of like one of the funniest fucking moments.
The thumbs up.
Yeah. Because I think we were talking about this earlier, last night when we were talking about this movie. John sent the picture of Sean doing the thumbs up. I had to find the one for Van Helsing doing the return thumbs up. I'm like, dude is 100 years old. Does he really know what a thumbs up is?
He doesn't, no. But Sean just goes with it. At this point, it's the very end of the movie. I've already been invested. I couldn't care less about whether or not that scene made sense or not, because it's so fucking hilarious and awesome. They both get sucked in the portal. Dracula's doing his death scream, and it's awesome because fuck him. He was an asshole.
Because Van Helsing finally gets his redemption. He helps save the day.
Yeah.
But then we get one of the most heart-wrecking moments.
I know.
Is when Frankenstein's monsters are getting sucked in, and Phoebe's losing her mind.
Yeah, she's getting really upset. She doesn't want him to go. He realizes he has to go.
Because the portal, I think, sucks in only bad things, and he's technically made from bad things. So.
Yeah, exactly. But she does throw the stuffed animal at him, which is
a little bear.
Really not like that's even more heartbreaking.
I know. It was bad. It was like no. Even I remember. I was like, "Fuck, man!"
I'm gonna tear up right now thinking about this.
You know what it reminded me of? Remember seeing that movie Dragonheart?
Yeah.
No.
Really? You never saw it?
I've seen it.
You seen it?
I've seen it.
You know, like how like the dragon that Sean Connery does the voice for?
Yeah.
He gave half his heart to the dude who was the king who was dying.
Mm-hmm.
So then they shared like each other's life or whatever ever since then. And then Dennis Quaid becomes the best friend of the dragon. But Draco, the dragon, says in order to stop the king, he has to either die or I have to die. And he's the last dragon. And then Draco lifts up his heart when the king was ready to come and kill Dennis Quaid, and then Dennis Quaid like threw the axe in the heart of Draco. Yeah. And I was like, dude. I remember I was bawling when I saw that. I was like, no.
Maybe I didn't do that as a kid, but as an adult watching that movie, I fucking teared up, especially with the music playing in the background. He gets sucked away. Like, oh, come, don't do this. Oh, God.
Doesn't he say bogus the whole way through?
I don't know. I think he says bye.
Oh, yes.
He says bye. The portal closes, and Phoebe's distraught. I'm like, oh, God, no, why? Why?
After that whole heart-wrecking thing, we get that the military shows up.
The military
shows up, and the kid's like, oh, I told you I called the military.
I sent them a message with crayon, and they bought it. They showed up. You're lucky this is the end of the movie, because otherwise I'd be rolling my eyes.
The fight sequence is the guy in charge of the military, I don't even know what rank he is.
I don't know.
He's just wearing a helmet.
Let's make him a general.
Yeah. He goes, who are you guys? And somehow they have a card for the Monster Squad.
They have a card. Yep, they have a card. It's us. We're the Monster Squad.
Yeah. I'm like, wait, when did they get cards made?
I don't. It's probably just a piece of like cardboard with some writing on it. It says that we're the Monster Squad. And then that's the movie. And then you get the rap at the very end.
I totally forgot about the rap.
There's a rap dedicated to this movie. Oh, man. The kids are the town heroes. And if there's any other monsters out there, beware of these kids. Now, here's one thing. I couldn't help but notice this. A couple of years ago, some kids made a fan-made trailer/movie of Monster Squad 2. They dedicated it to Stan Winston, who must have just recently passed. Now, this film is pretty bad, but I enjoy it for what it is. They were trying to make like a fun trailer. They basically brought back the characters in name only. It's clearly different actors. Yeah. It's a student-made film. It's what it looks like, but they have it take place in the Amityville Horror House. They have the Necronomicon being the essential plot of the story, and they bring back the classic 70s and 80s monster movies.
Oh my god.
They bring back Jason, they bring back Freddy, they bring back Michael Myers, Chucky, and Ash comes in as a cameo, and they bring in Gremlins too.
Oh my god.
It's so horribly bad, but I couldn't help but laughing. And there's even a moment where Freddy Krueger is going after one of the kids. He knees him in the nuts and goes, "This kid's got nards." It's so bad. I couldn't help but laugh, though. Creepy German guy is dead. On his tombstone, it just says creepy German guy.
Oh, my God. That's horrible.
It's terrible, but this is over 10 years old. I couldn't help but laugh at this whole thing because, yeah, it was just fan-made. It was just for fun.
It actually has, like, the heart of the concept in it.
It does.
I mean, like, everything about it actually sounds like an amazing tribute. Like what
they didn't actually close Limbo. The Necronomicon brings it back into existence as well as the monsters from the 70s and the 80s.
Well, the Necronomicon is...
Dude, they could connect any world at this moment. They already did Freddy vs. Jason. Through the Necronomicon, hell, they could bring Monster Squad into the Evil Dead universe. I'd be fine with it.
They bring Ash in, of course. I know a guy from Home Sales.
Yeah.
Well, Ruby made more pages in Ash vs. Evil Dead, so...
There's an opportunity. Like, I would love to see them do a sequel if they got everyone to come back.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. No ties in unless everyone comes back.
Yeah. Well, wasn't there a rumor about a sequel and it was going to be their kid? Oh, no, I'm thinking of Goonies.
Either way, both movies would work as their kids because obviously they're all old enough to have kids now.
Yeah.
kind of like do the reverse roles of Sean now being the workaholic father, stuff like that. I think it'll be cool little.
Well, it's also what Ghostbusters Afterlife is kind of like. Where it's what Egon's grandkids are gonna find the equipment.
And I think that's like, as fans of older movies, it's kind of cool seeing them do concepts like that, like using the kids as ways into the next generation rather than their direct kids.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like in that same concept of like in Rocky Balboa.
Yeah.
When the kid's like, I don't want to follow in my dad's footsteps. Everybody leave me alone. Like, I think it's kind of neat how I think that would be like what the direction is. Although we do kind of see it more where direct kids do try to pick up the torch, like like famous actors' kids want to get into acting. Like,
That's like the concept of Rocky. Look at Apollo. Mm-hmm. It's Apollo Creed's kid.
With Creed, yeah. Absolutely. Although I also just recently heard that Sylvester Stallone's not going to be in the new Creed film.
I heard he was done after 2 anyway.
I mean, that's fine, because it's really Apollo Creed's story, or at least Creed's son. It's really his story now, so it makes sense for Rocky to just have like his bookend close. He's done more than enough to contribute to this awesome franchise that Sylvester Stallone had a huge part from the start. So.
Oh, without Sylvester Stallone, there would be
no Rocky. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. That's Monster Squad.
That it is.
There's a lot. Like, just
there's a ton.
With it being a cult classic, and then coming full circle, and now like they're getting the notoriety. I think for the 20th anniversary, I think Monster Mania had something for them in 2007 at Cherry Hill, because I was actually in part of the documentary was a Cherry Hill hotel, and they were all sitting at a table.
Okay.
I'm sitting there going, wait, is that a Monster Mania one? I was going to look it up, but I didn't get a chance to yet. But it was kind of cool. So, like, if you guys get a chance, there's multiple documentaries right now that I'm discovering. Obviously, Wolfman's Got Nards.
Yeah.
Also, if you get a hold of the 20th anniversary edition of the disc, they have one. It's called Monster Squad Forever. It's a 5-part documentary series on there.
Okay.
And it's actually pretty cool. But they recently released it on Blu-ray with no special features. I'm like, are you fucking serious? So now I have like 2 copies of the movie. One is the 20th, and one's for the Blu-ray. They're both sitting here.
Why do they do that?
I know, because I was looking at that. I was actually gonna get rid of the DVD, which was a dumb call. And then I'm like looking, like, there's nothing here. There's really nothing on this motherfucker. But it was like that, being the first time I got to see Monster Squad, I was kind of glad I kept it.
Oh man.
But
yeah, big part of my childhood, especially growing up. Glad I saw it as a kid. And I still watch it to this day, obviously. Probably every October I watch it. It's a
good October movie.
It is. And they really had passion making this movie. If they didn't, it wouldn't be as memorable or as a cult classic as it is now. If they didn't really care, but they obviously did care about this project.
Well, sure. It's just like when we talked about Ninja Turtles and how it was shit on by critics. But when you look at how Raymond Chow and Golden Harvest were involved with that movie. I mean, they did the Bruce Lee films.
Yeah.
Sally Menke, who was Quentin Tarantino's editor, she was the editor in Ninja Turtles. We talk about the music and the costumes and the actors and that. It's like, there was a lot of heart that went into that, and it's still living on, obviously. It's the same thing with this movie. Also, it's like a family-friendly Halloween type movie. It falls in the same lines as Hocus Pocus and some of those other family-friendly type films that everybody can watch during the holiday season. Because not everybody loves horror, but they want to feel the Halloween spirit, so they go for the lighthearted sort of stuff. I think it falls in line with that. I mean, it does push the bounds, especially with the cancel culture stuff nowadays. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Heaven forbid we actually make it a little more exciting.
And that's kind of a tribute to the 80s. The 80s just had a can-do approach of not really giving a shit. Yeah. Let's just do whatever we want, and no one's going to stop us.
That's why I respect the 80s a little bit more, because like I said, it actually gives more excitement and more oh my gosh, could the kids actually die in this? Mm-hmm. I mean, now it's pretty obvious that almost everything would have a happy ending, and everybody's going to be all right. There's no sense of threat and adrenaline pumping, no nothing. It's okay.
I'm surprised no kids actually died in Monster Squad. But then again, it was PG-13. If a kid died, it would be an instant R rating, that's for sure. Because the 80s, kids were dying left and right. Look at the Blob.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that.
The fucking blob surrounds that one kid and just like sucks him back into the sewer. Yeah, the 80s weren't afraid to kill kids.
I mean, I don't agree with like anything that looks like it inflicts harm upon kids because it's a really huge pet peeve of mine. But for the sake of an art project, it's actually like one of the most effective and heart-wrenching things that you can do in a movie. Like hell, I even remember when they did it in Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow. It was like, oh my god. Yeah. They killed the 3-year-old kid in that?
Oh, I know. You don't see it happen.
But you knew, like the way he hinted at it, it was actually tasteful, like not to be like super graphic or whatnot.
Anything,
but you knew that the kid didn't make it.
Yeah.
And it was like that just showed you how cold the Horseman is, because usually like a hired assassin doesn't normally mess with kids.
Yeah.
Well, no, this one, dead or not, he fucking killed the kid.
Yeah, he did. Yikes.
Yeah. And that's what made you go, whoa, dude.
Yeah.
Well, like in it.
Yeah.
Like as soon as you see Georgie, get it, you're like,
oh yeah.
And that's the beginning of the movie.
Hold on. So here's the thing. 98 was not the one we're talking about. We're talking about the 2015?
The 2017.
Yeah. That one actually shows what happened to Georgie. The 1991, nothing, because it was a made-for-TV movie.
Yeah, it was.
The one they made recently, that totally fucked everyone's day up, because you did not expect that to come.
You saw his arm get ripped off.
It
was like a fucking shark attack, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, when they're showing him try to climb with that stump, it caught me off guard. I'm like,
oh my
god. What the fuck?
Mm-hmm. And especially when they're good kids yet. I just want to go out, be kids, and just have fun. And oh man, that shit gets me.
Why you gotta wreck everyone's day, Colin? Fuck you.
Motherfucker.
We're talking about the 80s here in kids and how like they're kind of taking that element away.
Yeah. But in the long run, like you said, if it's art, I understand. If it's just for pure shock value, I think it's bullshit.
Oh, it is bullshit.
Absolutely.
Like if there's no purpose, like you said, then why do it?
Like it did serve its purpose in it because that's how that story began. Yeah. There's a lot more in the book with that they could have done. I'm kind of glad they stuck with what they did.
Yeah, there's a certain point where you don't have to like push the bounds so far in a movie. It's like all you need is enough. And tell you the truth, there might have even been more to that scene that really wasn't all that bad, but still the MPAA might have even said you got to cut this.
Kind of did with the Blob because it just kind of felt like shock value. Let's showcase more of these grotesque blob special effects and how they can mutate and kill kids.
Yeah,
that was pure shock value.
You don't have to do it with an adult. Don't do it with kids.
Yeah.
And animals. Don't do it with animals.
No, animals. No. Never animals. No.
Like make it the asshole of the movie.
Right.
Well, then it's righteous.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So thank God the Beagle survives in Monster Squad.
Yes.
Otherwise, I would have been even more pissed.
But I think was it Fred? Yeah, Fred Decker. He didn't realize what he had until years later too. He's like, I think it's in Wolfman's Got Nards. He's like, yeah, I never knew what it was. I thought it was gonna be my downfall was this and Night of the Creeps.
Night of the Creeps.
He goes, but honestly, I think this is gonna end up on my tombstone. The man who created Monster Squad. He goes, I didn't realize how much it was loved until many years later. And he's like, it's my pinnacle right now. I'm like, dude, you've made how many movies and this is the one? I'm like, but you didn't see it. So it's like, it was just kind of like, all right. So you were like, you made the amazing movie. Now you're seeing it actually be an amazing movie.
Yeah. That just goes to show though, like some movies just don't find an audience at that moment in time.
Sometimes they don't.
I mean, maybe the 80s just didn't capture, like what was it, 87 this movie?
87. It was 87. August of 87 when it came out. So it came out at the end of summer. So it was a good primetime slot, especially towards the end of summer. So it wasn't like it was dumped like in January. It was put in a relatively good timing time slot. So,
but I think they all said too that they didn't know who to market it to, kids, adults. Because even if you watch the trailer, it's fucking confusing. Because it's like after I heard that, I'm like, I watched the trailer, I'm like, I've seen the movie and I still don't even fucking stand it.
Yeah. So maybe the marketing could have been more on point for what it was trying to go for.
But maybe they didn't care either. They just saw this and said, what's this?
Yeah.
I said before, even Night of the Creeps is a lot better than what everyone realizes. Like, yeah, it's making fun of all those 50s, 60s horror movies.
Oh, it does.
So Fred Dreger, I keep feeling like I'm saying his last name wrong.
Fred Decker.
Decker.
Yeah.
Black and Decker. All right. So I know ahead of time. He seems to be a fan of comedy horror, where he can appreciate all the horror movies leading up to the moment, and those two movies back to back were showing that he is a fan of both the comedy versions and the horror versions, and then kind of making a parody of both.
Yeah.
Like, Night of the Creeps is a horrifying movie if you take all the comedy out of it.
Yeah.
If you take Tom Atkins out of it and his blatant fucking
don't ever take Tom Atkins out of Night of the Creeps
for everything. So the constant smoking, telling this kid to fuck off, and all that. I feel like the movie would have been totally different. If we got a different actor in it, it would have had a different feel. Even some of the storyline, I feel like if they would have just took out the comedy, it would have been bad. Like, discovering it was aliens who started this whole fucking thing. Where this one, I feel like if they would have taken out the kids and just dealt with the adults, it would have made it not as a good movie. So, like, dealing with Sean's dad instead of just Sean.
Yeah.
I feel like it could have been a fucking straight horror movie, but it would not be as good.
It's kind of like It Chapter 2.
Yeah.
You know, it's not quite as good as Chapter 1 because
you're taking the kid element.
Yeah, and there's a sense of vulnerability there because they are kids, you know, and you know how kids are. It's like they tell far-fetched stories. Parents are already exhausted from working and other daily things. And like, fuck off, kid. You know,
they don't have time to worry about monsters that may or may not be real.
Yeah, like, what are you talking about? And then
the funny thing is, you bring that up. My favorite sequence is actually a moment like that in this entire movie. It's not dealing with like everything. It's actually the dad getting pissed off at the small kid. What's his name? Philip? Or the one with the beagle.
Oh my God, Eugene.
Yeah, Eugene. So he's like saying there's a monster in my room. The dad's like, there's no monster. You can't read these comics, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm laughing because I can physically see the tiredness in this man's face. Like, I have no time for this bullshit. I'm done. And he walks the room and he's like, woo, there's no monster. He's checking under the bed. He opens the closet and you see the mummy standing there and he's like, oh no, there's a scary monster. And he's like doing the face.
Not looking at it.
I died. I'm like, yo, this is the perfect moment because Eugene's still losing his shit. And,
covering his eyes. Dad, would you just look around the corner, please?
But that proves that, like, you know, the adults aren't really giving a fuck what the kids are saying.
Oh, I know. Okay, I want to get some sleep. Good night. And then he's like still covering his eyes. Like, it's still there.
He just slams the door. The mummy's just like, okay.
What's the mummy doing in a child's closet?
I think it was pure shock value.
I think it was absolutely pure shock value.
But that is, like I said, that's probably like my favorite moment of the entire movie, just because like all the crazy shit that's happening, and this dad is still not giving a flying fuck.
It's too funny. Oh, yeah. Favorite scene for me, actually, it's two that I can't quite pinpoint, but I'm probably leaning towards one. The monsters uniting, coming together. Yeah, Gilman's appearance, throwing the fucking casket, and then the resurrection of Frankenstein coming back to life, and then the shit-wrecking crew that they're going to do. And then Sean stabbing the shit out of Dracula. Basically, the death of Dracula is probably my favorite scene because I love to hate Duncan Rager's performance of Dracula so much. I hate him so much, but I love what he did in the movie. But when he fucking died, he fucking deserved it. And I couldn't wait to see him off camera, stabbed, brought back from Van Helsing, sucked back into limbo, the thumbs up, all of that shit was just awesome. So that's probably my favorite scene.
But that makes for the perfect villain, though.
It does.
You actually want to see him die.
You want to hate the villain. That's a job well done.
Yeah, and I feel like he did an amazing job with it because, like I said, he didn't interact with anybody.
Yeah.
Only as a villain, and that made the perfect play because no one actually knew how the way the guy was going to act.
Mm-hmm. And you all know what my least favorite scene is. I'm not going to repeat myself.
The death of Gilman?
What do you think, Jeff? Gilman for life. Tom Woodruff Jr., you're awesome. You deserve more screen time. You deserve better. You deserve a fight scene with Aquaman. Seriously. Gilman, you were the best character in that whole fucking monster movie.
You talking about Phoebe is, don't fucking lie.
The favorite monster. If I had to talk about favorite human, it'd be Phoebe. Without a doubt.
Colin?
For me, I've actually only seen this movie once, and that was at Jeff's bachelor party.
That's it?
That's it, yeah. I never got around to seeing it again, and I mean, I'm looking forward to it again at the drive-in. unfortunately, I had like no time with my scheduling being crazy and editing and everything else going on in my life to rewatch it. Plus, I didn't want to ruin it by going to the drive-in soon again.
I'm actually the same concept because I normally watch the movie before redoing it, and that's what we were talking about before we started. I'm like, I didn't want to because I wanted the full experience at the drive-in, where I'm like, if I watch it, and then literally a week later we're gonna watch it, I'm gonna be like, I'm good.
Yeah, I kind of like got in the mood for Ninja Turtles, and since we're gonna go see it in the theater again, I was like, I gotta hold off, even though I'm like, I gotta see it.
I know.
But one thing that sticks out to me that I really enjoyed was the coming together of the monsters in the swamp and how Dracula recharged Frankenstein, because it was like, you know, like an Avengers of the monsters coming
Monsters
together.
assemble.
Yeah. And I thought that was really cool that they saved Frankenstein's monster for last. I thought that was really fitting, and they did it in that really cool atmosphere of the swamp and stuff.
Yeah.
So, and seeing him being resurrected, I just thought that was a really cool, iconic scene. Especially because you didn't like see all the monsters, even though they were ripoffs. I think they did it very well to like just push the edge just a little bit, so that just enough to go like, okay, you know who they are, but yet the copyright is still like this portion, like you're like inches away here.
That's like you just go,
that'd
be it.
Exactly. A little top heavy, but I gotta say that was probably good. I mean, the campiness I think got a little too much, but I appreciate it for what it is because I know it's an 80s movie. It's a lot of fun. There are some scenes where I'm just like so over the top with, but I don't really remember anything that sticks out to me as like a least favorite. But if I had to say like something that like made me feel bad, it was when Frankenstein's monster had the mask and he's like, oh, scary.
Yeah.
And obviously when he gets sucked into the portal because of how him and Phoebe were so tight knit, and it's like that was just like so heart wrenching. It's like, no.
Plus, they were the heart of the story. Like no matter what, the monsters, the boys, but it was Phoebe and Frankenstein's monster that were the heart of that story.
Yeah.
And like I said, them being the heroes of the whole thing, mainly Phoebe.
Mainly Phoebe.
And then Frankenstein's monster pretty much being like, fuck you, Dracula.
Plus, there's always something about that, like, guardian of a kid that always, like, touched me, like, really well, and having, like, the big muscle and then taking on the bad guys and always knowing, like, they'll go all out to protect you. Like in Terminator 2 when, you know, Terminator loses an arm, he's getting beat up and crushed and all this other shit. And then at the very end, he has to kill himself for the sake of humanity, and John Connor's like, no, don't go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you just get the thumbs up, and like that got me too, man. You know, it's like, are you kidding me?
It's the power of the thumbs up.
I'm like, dude, like scenes like that, they just always get me. Yeah. I mean, they're so like when they're good, they're effective. Kind of like you said about the bad guys, like their performance is so good that you want to see them die.
Yeah.
It's like you hate seeing the hero and like the protector go, but yet at the same time it's such a good scene and it's effective. You know, it's so effective that it really gets you emotionally. So I think they captured effectiveness very well in the movie, and that's another reason why I think it sticks out, because it's not just the 80s camp, it's not just the fun horror elements to it. It really grabs your emotions at times and you're just like, damn. Which is what good movies normally do.
Yeah.
You know, if they're effective, they make you feel, and that's what it did.
Awesome.
Jeff?
Damn, man, I'm just like, you're hit it with the heart there.
Yeah.
Well, that's what a good movie does. If it doesn't hit you at the heart, it won't have legs.
Yeah.
It's like we said in Ninja Turtles and how that hits you to the heart. And if it didn't, then that's why those idiot critics didn't understand the movie.
Yeah.
You know, like we instantly got it, and then the older we got, we saw that there was more depth and meaning into it, and now look, it's like 30 years later, we're still talking about it. The first one's still the best one.
Oh, absolutely.
No question.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and I mean, in a good way. And I'm proud that like it was like one of those early movies. Like I said, I remember that movie at 3 years old. Who the fuck remembers anything at 3 years old? I remember going to the theater at 3 years old.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I have a hard time remembering basic fucking math, but I remember seeing Ninja Turtles in the theater in 1990 at 3 years old, okay?
I'll text you some math equations.
Nah, fuck that. I'm just going to Google it.
I think my favorite part is probably the first introduction of Phoebe and Frankenstein's monster. Because the whole being a huge Frankenstein fan and seeing them pull that off perfectly, that was probably my favorite moment. The second being the dad not giving a fuck about the mummy. Because like I just love how they lit it, how they did everything, like even the way they played it off, like they made it seem like she died, and I'm like, that was perfect. And also she comes back like, hey.
Phoebe, you're the MVP of the kids.
Oh yeah. And
of all the human characters.
I can't wait till Thea's old enough to watch this with me, because guarantee she's not gonna give a fuck, but I will. So
funny. Do you have a least favorite scene?
Honestly, no, because I already knew what it was going into it. So like being 20 and watching it for the first time, I enjoyed it. Even at 34. Wow, I'm gonna get old.
How old are we?
I don't even know anymore.
You're going to be 34 at the end of the 35. Year. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, that's what you meant.
Yeah. You got me at see math. I can't, but I remember Ninja Turtles in the theater.
I think even now I still enjoy it, because it's like I knew it's gonna be campy as fuck. I knew it's pretty much a love story to horror movies, and that's all I'm about. We all know this is all I'm about, and that's what it is. So it's like I really can't even complain, because like I'll sit here and be like, I have to analyze it to complain about it, then that's bullshit, because I can bullshit about anything.
When you don't know shit about fuck.
Yeah. And like even if like you said, it's campy, everyone loves it, because that's what it's for. It's not supposed to be this grand fucking movie. They knew what they had.
They did.
I mean, like, I got in arguments yesterday about fucking Godzilla versus King Kong, and everyone's bitching about that. I'm like, listen, it's a movie about a giant ape and an atomic lizard, and you're bitching about plot? I knew what it was going into it.
Oh, I did too.
That annoys the shit out of me too. It's like, oh man, can you believe, like, where was the National Guard? It's like, are you fucking kidding me, dude?
You don't watch Godzilla or Kong for the human characters. You watch for the fights. You watch for the interaction. Come on, people.
But see, that's what we go into. We know what we're looking for. If you're going in to literally destroy a plot about a versus movie or about a kids fighting monsters movie, there's something wrong.
Yeah,
something wrong.
It's all make believe.
Yeah, I think this movie also was a trend setting as well, because this may have been the first movie that started the trend of kids who curse are cool.
I can believe that.
It may have been, because these kids, drop in, a couple curse words here and there, and then after this movie, I saw a lot more of that happening as the years went on. Maybe this movie was the one that kind of started that trend. At least I think so.
I can see that.
When did Stand By Me come out?
That was, I think, a little bit earlier.
Okay. Because I think they swore in that, didn't they?
They did swear in that, but...
kind of funny you brought that up, though. Because it being a Stephen King book, and Sean's shirt was Stephen King rules, which is probably the most iconic thing out of this entire fucking movie.
But I think the kids who curse in Stand By Me, it's not meant to be funny. It's because it's kind of tragic, because they all have like these horrible upbringings.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it comes down to. But these kids, the curse words that they drop are funny and they're cool. So
I mean, we've had moments like that. Like, I remember, I think it was the Power Rangers movie was on a TV Guide or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a thing for like seeing like really cool covers on TV Guides and stuff, and my dad was actually buying them for me. Like, a couple had Batman on it and stuff, and one time he saw, I think it was the White Ranger too.
Okay.
And he goes, no, and he pointed to it, and I said, yeah, screw them. And I was like, it was like in the middle of a grocery store line, and I think him and my mom were there, and they're like, don't say that.
That's funny.
That's not even that bad of a word.
I know, but still, I was like, you can't, like, I was just like, screw them,
But there were two moments that stick out in the movie where Phoebe says, don't be chicken shit, which is really funny. And then when Sean's mom gives him the journal, he's like, holy shit, cow. Sorry, cow. Like, it's like the kids who curse in that are meant to be funny in the moment. Like I said, Stand By Me, it seems like it was more they're swearing because they're angry. That's where that came off to me. But
Stand By Me is more of a serious movie.
It is a very serious movie.
I would hope so.
It's about kids who want to go find a body.
Hey, I'm pretty sure that there's a Stephen King musical out there. So.
Carrie the musical.
Well, there you go.
That's pretty good.
It was shit originally, then it got a makeover.
Yeah.
A much needed makeover.
And now Showgirls has a musical too, apparently. Gosh.
We've already talked about that.
Yes.
Do we have any final thoughts about this one?
I gotta say, it's very enjoyable, and another reason why I think it resonates is because I see a lot of us in it.
Oh, yeah.
Because I know, like, Jeff and I, we would do stupid adventures like this and talk about when we were kids, like, like, wouldn't you want to, like, fight, Dracula or something? It was like, hell yeah! We're 12 years old. I was like, yeah, dude, I'll fucking fight him. And then, like, even when I watch Stranger Things, I'm like, oh my god, this is totally us.
Oh, yeah, dude.
And that takes place in the 80s, too, just like Monster Squad and these, like, the Goonie characters.
The posters in the clubhouse, no girls allowed.
So, as we're talking about this whole basement, or the Loomis room, is full of horror memorabilia. So this essentially is the clubhouse.
This is our clubhouse.
And I was like, as we're talking about it, I'm like, thinking about it, like, yeah, dude. And then right behind them two is one of the masks that I wear. It actually is the red and yellow Stephen King rules.
The carpet.
And how we go to the horror conventions, and we've taken pictures with so many of the horror guys and people in costumes, and it's like how we talked about wanting to be Ghostbusters and like go on ghost hunts and shit like that we could do.
If the whole Ghostbusters thing was real, I'd probably still be chicken shit. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, dude, I'd be nervous as hell too. It's like if somebody said, "Hey, you want to go on a rattlesnake hunt or something?" I'd be like, "Hell yeah, let's go!" But at the same time, I'm like, I don't know.
When you get there,
they're ready to give you a pack that's radioactive, and you're gonna wear it on your back.
Yeah,
it's not even tested yet. So good luck.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
And by the way, this might be a level 5 elemental. It can kill you. And you don't know if this works for sure.
We haven't conducted a proper safety test.
It's like I saw this. You can do like this croc diving.
Oh, dude, I would love to do that.
I want to do it in the worst way, but at the same time, I see like a 25-foot crocodile, and I'm like, I don't know how that croc would like take to it. Like, it could be that one bad day, and it's like, there's like assurance that I'll get out of here, right?
Good luck.
Yeah.
You have to sign thing that we're not responsible for your possible death.
Yeah.
Or injury.
A slight case of death. You'll be fine.
One bite, you're fucked. But dude, I totally do that. Just like shark cage diving. Like, I want to do that, but I want to see like the big sharks, Like, I don't want to see some little one. I want to see a big motherfucker.
I feel like if I ever did that, I'd probably pass out underwater just by seeing the sheer size of one of those sharks like 2 inches away from me. Even though I'm in a cage, I still might pass out.
Dude, my adrenaline would be going so fast with that. And to think, And to think, I was scared on the Jaws ride.
I've had nightmares about fucking sharks constantly.
Dude, that Jaws ride is still amazing.
It is amazing. I remember it. I remember it so much.
It's still in Japan, and I want to go to Japan. How about it, guys?
Let's go to Japan.
Cinema Sanitarium Productions goes to Japan.
Yeah.
No, Jeff.
No, Jeff. It's okay. I'll be there. 2/3 of Film Asylum goes to Japan.
Jeff doesn't want to eat reishi mushrooms when he's over there.
I'm more worried
no sushi for you?
By an atomic lizard.
No,
hey, you might like us. We just gotta stay away from Tokyo.
That's cheesy.
It's bad. But yeah, this movie, Monster Squad, the 2 things that really hold this movie together, that make it all the worthwhile, are the respect it has to the monsters, and they really paid a great deal amount of attention to them, especially making them sometimes even better than the 1930s monsters. Hands down. I remember these monsters better than the 1930s ones. They had what they had back then, but they just improved upon them, which is great.
It's also practical effects.
Practical effects and makeup. That's a tribute to them. And the camaraderie with the kids. I mean, this is really all about their chemistry with one another. I think even Andre Gower, who played Sean, he campaigned to have his best friend Patrick be in the movie because they were best friends in real life. So because of that, the director said, all right, let's bring them on board. Because you guys, I want you guys to have good chemistry. I want you to appear to be friends in real life. And they are friends in real life. So that was really awesome. But yeah, guys, if the biggest lesson to learn is that science is not cool, monsters are.
Oh my god. You look like you're about to say something.
Science, bitch.
Something popped into my head, but it's current event wise, and I'm just not. No, I'm not gonna let it be.
No, Colin. No.
No. I want people to enjoy the show. It's nothing against you.
So you gonna say something to me right now?
No, it's not you, really.
I have a feeling it's something about me.
No, it actually isn't. No. Just keep my mouth shut.
Is it about science?
No. Yeah, kind of.
You know what? Let's move on.
Yeah,
let's move on.
You guys know how I can get lashy. You've seen my Twitter account.
Oh my gosh. On that note. Any final thoughts?
I'm
besides
good.
Colin's?
Just keeping it down in there.
No, I feel good.
All right. I feel good too.
Yeah. I'd say, honestly, if you haven't seen it, go fucking see this movie. It's amazing.
We're seeing it next week.
Yeah. Like I said, seeing it on the big screen and actually one of the actors being there is kind of cool. It's doing a Q&A. It's at the Mahoning Drive-In. So...
Yo, what if we kick that actor in the nuts and be like, yo, Andre's got nards?
Oh my god. Listen, I would
and
like
then
to go
security
back.
comes and just escorts us and bans us for life.
Yeah, I still want to go back to the drive-in.
I would like to go back there again someday.
Hey, you can always put on horror masks. They won't know the difference.
I think they would. I'm literally covered in tattoos that everyone can pick out quickly.
Dude, you see the crowd that goes there with tattoos?
Oh, absolutely. It's kind of cool.
There's probably a line where they're going to like demask everybody to check people.
They're like full biohazard suits.
Listen, they were smoking weed in the parking lot when we were watching Chopping Mall. I really don't think anything's going to happen.
Chopping Mall is still comedic gold.
That is.
It is comedic gold.
I'm sure it was probably better with the weeds.
Yeah.
Have a nice day.
Fuck, dude. People were laughing at us in our commentary. That made me feel good. I was proud of that night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because that drive-in, I cannot say enough nice things. Because like even when I first went for Zombie Fest, like years ago now, still laughing at the fact I'm in that documentary.
He is. That big bald motherfucker.
I was like, I did not know what to expect. I was like, dude, Evil Dead Trilogy on the drive-in, cool. I didn't know I was going to keep going back. It was one of those things like maybe it's a one-off, something to do. No, I love it. I love the experience. Like, everything they're trying now, like they're actually bringing in actors. Like last year they did Bruce Campbell. This year they're doing Andre Gower. They're later going to do Last Drive-In with Joe Bob.
Joe Bob Briggs.
And Marcy, I think Marcy the Mail Girl is going to be there too.
Oh.
If they are, from what I hear, they are supposed to do a live episode.
Okay.
So I'm hoping.
A live episode?
Yeah,
okay,
so
cool.
I'm hoping. But I'm glad, like, just discovering them. And, like, I was joking, like, I told them to check out the documentary, and I got to see it for the first time, and literally I'm standing there, wait, that's my old Jeep. And I'm looking like, that's me.
Looking at the camera thinking, what the hell is this guy doing?
I remember I saw the picture. At first I was confused because I'm working my rotating shifts and just waking up, and I'm looking at the conversation, and I'm just like, Jeff looks like he's at the drive-in. And then I forget what else we were talking about, like a documentary, and I think we were talking about Elvira or something, and it was like, yo, check out who was in this documentary, and I was like, wait, what the hell's going on? I was like all confused, and then I just see the screenshot of you and Lexi, and I'm like, what? Like, what it's like I shouldn't look at my phone when I first wake up.
No.
I need coffee.
But yeah, so it's like it's an experience. I would say go check them out. They're always doing something.
They are.
I think this weekend is the Blob original and remake.
Oh my god, we were just
talking about
the Blob remake too.
And it's a nice area.
Yeah,
it is. It's peaceful.
Very peaceful drive. Nice throwback to the old drive-in stuff. Yeah. I enjoy it up there. I do miss the drive-ins a lot.
Yeah. And if you haven't seen Monster Squad, check it out because it's 80s cheese, but it's 80s cheese done right. And it's damn fun. Damn entertaining.
Yeah.
That was the point of the whole movie, and they nailed it.
Yeah, so check that out. Check out Night of the Creeps, and why not Chopping Mall?
Yeah. Chopping Mall. If only Tom Atkins was in Chopping Mall yet.
Dude, that would be the epic trilogy right there.
he needed to be in more horror anyway. We can't get enough of that guy.
I know. We're gonna see him soon.
I know. I can't wait to see that picture of the three of us with him just be like.
I don't know how they're gonna do it because like the whole photo op thing. I know like when I did with Tom Savini, we had to wear our masks.
Okay.
So it's like I don't know if they're gonna do social distancing where it's like
I don't know.
They're like behind you, next to you, but like 6 feet, and then you.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll plan something. I'm sure there'll be ideas. Oh yeah, we'll have ideas.
We got time.
I know what I want him to put on for a signature. Sure, that'll be posted.
Thrill me.
That's a dumb question, Miss Grippish.
No, actually, I want him to say, Colin, I fucked your mom.
Oh my god!
Oh my god, dude! Please tell me it's 100%.
I'm not joking.
I feel like he'd be laughing his ass off for that too.
I think you might.
I'm serious, dude. I'll be last so that you guys can hear that, or first.
I don't care. I'm just gonna enjoy I'm gonna enjoy the ride.
I'm just gonna enjoy meeting him and then seeing this unfold.
Get your cameras ready.
Get your popcorn ready.
See, also, I'm excited to meet Andre Bauer too, because Gower.
I'm excited to meet him too. I really am.
Like I said, I didn't know like he loved this movie and that he made the documentary. So it's like it's cool meeting one of the people who are involved with the movie, loving it as much as everybody else. Like I know the one that played Phoebe and the badass,
the badass Ashley Bank.
Yeah. So yeah.
All right.
So that'll wrap things up. Mm-hmm. Okie doke. Well, with that being said, we are going to end this session at the Asylum. This is Colin Peters.
John Rashutter.
Jeff Manfred.
Thank you all once again for listening. Stay safe. Stay crazy.
Bogus.
Please, somebody help me.
Oh, yeah.